I'm Jordan Larson, and you're listening to the Ace Space podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ace Space, the volleyball podcast brought to you by CEV. We're delighted that you've joined us again to listen in and delighted to be joined once again by Jordan Larson. Hey, Jordan.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, really good. I've introed you there, but I've not said hello to Dan. Sorry, Dan. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. The sun's shining in London for a change. Can we do a quick weather check-in? Because we've got London, Luxembourg, and California, right? So I reckon we're doing about 15, 16 degrees C and sunshine in the early evening in London. Let's go to Luxembourg, and it is.
I think it's 20 degrees here and bright and sunny. Might be the only time of the year that Luxembourg's nicer than California, I think.
Oh, high bar. Jordan?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know in Celsius, but in Fahrenheit we're about 75. So yeah, we're doing quite nicely here. It's gonna be a hot one.
What happens in 75 Fahrenheit? Would I get sunburned in that?
I would say yes. I would suggest you lather pretty well. Yeah.
100%. To be fair, sometimes I need to put a hat on when I've turned the light on at bedtime. I get sunburned that bad. But anyway, enough about that. Today, Jordan, we would like to talk to you about big games because you've been involved with plenty of them over the years. Are they different?
Oh, that's a tough question. I do think they are different, but I think the way that you should approach it mentally should be the same, right? It's the same court, same ball, same all these things. There was one thing that my coach said when I was in Turkey, that every game has a new history, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I just latched onto that, and it's so true. You don't know what the outcome's going to be, and you might as well just show up and compete and kind of find out what the history is going to be. So. Well, I do say it's not technically from a mental standpoint, not so different, but I do think there is some difference. So,
have you ever, of course you should approach them like they're exactly the same, but World Championship finals, Olympic finals, Champions League finals, surely they're different in so much that, I'm just a supporter, and I think they're different. Surely, people react differently, whether it's your coach, whether it's your teammates. Do you see yourself as kind of the cool head amongst them all, or are you, I don't know, one of the wild ones?
Yeah. No, I think, no, you're right, for sure. When you think about that part, for sure, there's different, right? Your palms get sweaty. There's a difference. You're playing for something, but that's how, I don't know, for me, I've always tried to approach every single game like that. So therefore it's not such a big deal. And so then I think oftentimes I've been looked at from an outside of very just even keel kind of player, not too high, not too low. And so I think you're going to see that, consistency even in bigger moments. So I think that's why maybe I've been able to win a couple of times in these big moments, because it hasn't been such a aha moment kind of thing. But really in my inside, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm here, But yeah, it's for sure.
Do you find your teammates kind of lean on you and rely on your emotional stability sometimes?
Yeah, I think sometimes, for sure. I think they would probably hate to admit that, but I think sometimes they do. Yeah, I also think that I rely on other people that are maybe a little more feistier, because I'm not that kind of person or player. And so I've found myself to kind of gravitate towards those people that are more emotionally outward, because actually from the inside, that's what I want to look like. But I know for me to be consistently playing at a high level, I need to be pretty subdued. So, yeah.
Well, let's take it back to the beginning then, when you first started to be involved in these big games. Because, of course, if it happened tomorrow, you'd be one of the senior players because you've been to so many and won so many. In the first few you were involved with, who were the teammates that you sort of looked up to and lent on for that kind of support?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I would probably say there was one, our setter for the national team, Lindsay Berg. She was our captain at the time, and I don't know, she just had this way about carrying herself, and she just really worked hard and had this grittiness about her, and was determined. She had a vision, and she was going to put you in the best situation she could as a setter. So I always appreciated that. And I'm trying to think anybody else that I think kind of around that time I played in Turkey with Maya. I think also Maya Poyak, she has this like, I don't know, beast that comes out of her. She's probably talented, but she like, I don't know, like in big like plays, she just like, I don't know, the energy she creates like is just really like powerful. So I've always admired her for that.
Have you ever told her you think she's a beast?
In a roundabout way. Yeah. Every time I see her, I'm just like, man, yeah, I don't even know. It's just like some sarcasm going back, and she obviously fires back too. So, I don't know. I just think this whole life, of international volleyball, like the fact of where I like think about where I become like this small town girl that like now I have friends in Croatia. Like what? Like I don't, like it's just like the world of volleyball is just so large, and I'm just really thankful. Sorry, off tangent there, but yeah.
Tangent away. This is your
Yeah.
show. Croatia's nice though. Have you been to Croatia, Dan?
I have been one time, but I wasn't like the best part of Croatia. So I'm excited. Maya's been trying to get me to go there, and so I need to take her up.
Do you know what? Let's not ask you what part of Croatia you went to, because then everyone knows you think it's not the best part of Croatia.
No.
I think that's so...
Well, it was like, that Croatia's like talked about the beaches, and we weren't anywhere close to the beach. So I would say like it's not that Croatia wasn't great, but I would prefer to go closer to the beach. I'm sorry to all those in Croatia.
Go on. I was going to ask you if you'd been down on your European adventure.
No, I mean, I came to Europe and have pretty much immediately got locked down. So I haven't traveled too much yet.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, is Maya gonna come to the US anytime soon?
She came a couple years ago, actually. So it was nice to have her here. She was here for a couple weeks, and I got to see her a couple times. So it was really good. But anytime that she ever wants to come, she's always welcome.
So you said you were from a small town. Exactly how big are we talking?
Less than 1,000 people, and not a stoplight in town. But we had a golf course, so I mean, who needs a stoplight when you have a golf course?
Less than 1,000 people. Is that even a town?
Yeah, I'm probably more a village. Yeah, but and the high school that I went to was like all these like consolidated small towns, and yeah, it was, my dad's a farmer, and my mom lived in town, so I kind of got the best of both worlds. So,
has anyone else from your hometown sort of done anything out of the ordinary? Like you, obviously a pro athlete. Are you kind of the biggest name who's come out of that town, or has there been other similar successes?
Yeah, I would probably say I am probably the biggest name, but I do think there are some athletes that went on to play in college and like at a lower D1 or D2. So we're producing still.
Nice. Just going back to, I guess, some of the big games, big matches. What about, your college career? Because obviously you went to a very reputable, very famous program in the University of Nebraska and won an NCAA championships there. Or kind of some of the big matches like there with, because I've watched a few matches and the crowd there can be, something you don't even see in Europe sometimes.
Yeah, it's really like something special, and I think it's hard for people that like have never gone there or never really grew up there to fully understand like the power that Nebraska volleyball has just in the state. I mean, when you used to think of Nebraska, it was Nebraska football, and it was like just obviously through the 90s and just how famous it was, and now it's like Nebraska volleyball and football, and I don't know, just the name that it carries, and obviously the fan support is outrageous. I mean, now when I played there, we were playing in front of 5,000 consistently every night, sold out crowds. And then they moved into a new facility now where it's like 8,000 plus. And that's sometimes standing room only. And it's gnarly. And to go back to some of my moments, like when we won the national championship in 2006, we were playing in Omaha, which is at a bigger arena, and it held over 17,000 fans. And at that point, it was like the biggest crowd in front of, played played in, I guess you could say. And so, yeah, it was really, really cool environment. And obviously to win a national championship basically at home was unreal.
Where do those memories rank then in terms of your volleyball memories, like your college
Yep.
success compared to your Champions League success or your World Championship or your Olympic success?
Yeah, yeah, I would say probably the national championship in '06. I would say then winning making my first Olympic team and then winning silver medal, then winning world championships, and then going back to back Champions League with two different teams. I think that was cool. And then obviously making my second Olympic team and then winning a bronze medal for sure. If you had a rank, there's a couple times in there that I was like, ooh, there's one team in '08 that I really enjoyed. We had a lot of good memories too. So I had a rank kind of by that timeline. That's kind of what I would say.
What a CV that is, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
When I think back, I'm just like, I don't know, like you just do it, like, I don't know. I've just been in those situations and it's just, I've been lucky in a sense that I've had all these great opportunities and, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem real sometimes that I was there,
So you were a 2-time All-American, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Can you just explain the concept of All-American? Because I think I get it. And obviously we've got a lot of European listeners to this podcast. And I know it's a big deal, but can you tell me sort of exactly what it is and exactly how it is a big deal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to try my best to explain it, at least how I understand it. So I think there's like over 200 like universities, like Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and it goes kind of down the road. And basically all the players are like kind of put into a pool, and then the AVCA, which is like a committee, they basically vote on all the top players like across all the divisions. And so basically either your first team, second team, third team, or honorable mention. So technically I think of it as two-time All-American, but 1 year honorable mention, so that doesn't really count. But I was 2-time first team All-American, which is only like the top 12 to 15 girls, I think, in the whole United States. So yeah, it's a pretty prestigious honor. But there's girls that like Sarah Pavin. She plays for Team Canada now on the beach. She was a 4-time All-American, like obviously very good. And so you can see why, like sometimes when you're in that group, how you do have carry on success, post volleyball career.
So yeah, that is an incredible success, really. Were you aware of kind of all the others? So when the All-American team gets announced, are you like, oh yeah, I know her, oh, I'm definitely better than her? Or is it kind of a surprise? Because of course it's such a huge country. You say yourself, 200 schools all with teams.
For sure, yeah. We kind of had, so I was part of the youth national team, junior national team, and then kind of when you're in the USA Volleyball pipeline, you kind of see like a lot of familiar faces because once you kind of get through that and then you all commit to university and then you go through the university, and then when you see like who is an All-American, you're like, oh wow, I was on the youth national, junior national team with her. Like it's kind of, you kind of know who the top players are per se. So there are a couple surprises, like a couple people that will have just some really standout years. And so, but most of the time, you know who those people are. So.
Shall we talk about some of the big games then? Where should we start? Do you want to start with World Championships, Olympics, Champions League?
Sure. Yeah. World Championships is cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, USA's first ever gold medal.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy, honestly. And I think what a lot of people forget is we almost didn't make it out of like the group play, like the second round of group play. Like we needed Italy to win for us to continue on. And I remember sitting in the hotel. It's like, well, if Italy wins in 4, like we're in, and Italy had really no like pressure per se, right? Like they were already in, so like they didn't need to, again, this is all based off memory, so I could be way off. But so yeah, I just remember like, okay guys, like this is our chance. Like we have another chance. We did not, technically earn that right by ourselves. So we needed some help. So the fact that we were able to get in and then play Brazil in the semifinal, and I don't know, that Brazil match, I sometimes go back and rewatch because obviously Brazil and us, like we've always had like this healthy like competition, right? And we run a similar offense, like we have a lot of almost similarities. And so sometimes when you're going up against that, like trying to defend that is often a challenge. But I don't know, I think we scouted them well, and we just like, I don't know, we were on it that day. And yeah, it was really a really fun match. And then obviously to meet China in the finals was cool, and we just played unreal. And I don't know, but we played like we were supposed to be there, and we were just, I don't know, there was a comfort level, and yeah, obviously winning was just to top it all. So
I love the fact that you just said that you watched that game back. That's super cool. I spoke to your old teammate Carly Lloyd the other day, and she was saying that she watches the Champions League final, or sorry, she watched the Champions League final where she won it with Pommy back the other day, and she thought, I'll just watch like 2 minutes here, and then she put the game on and just watched the whole thing. I love the fact that you still enjoy reliving those memories that so many other people have enjoyed. But I want to talk about the day of the final. Like, what do you remember about it, sort of from the moment you woke up?
yeah, oh goodness, that's a good question. I'm pretty like routine based, so for me, I like to do the same thing over and over. So I woke up, had a solid breakfast. I believe we did go to a serve and pass, I think, but it was kind of like an optional, like, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to pass some balls? Do you want to serve some balls? It was very just, do you need to just recover? I remember I had drug testing the night before, and I was so dehydrated that after Brazil, I was so dehydrated that I sat there for, I think, 3+ hours because I could not, yes, it was brutal. And I was actually like overhydrated. So when I got back, like I was almost like had this like, I don't know, I felt like I was, drunk almost in a sense, because I was like, but granted there was no alcohol involved, but I just felt like I was like, my body, this is weird, you know? And so the next morning, I think I was still like coming off of this like weird feeling. And so I think I was just trying to get grounded. So I remember serve and pass just being very like, okay, take a couple reps and like relax kind of thing. And obviously being world champs, like just the schedule in itself is just very exhausting. So when you get to the finals, you're like, oh, okay. So we're all really tired. And so, yeah, obviously we went back, had lunch, and then just prepared like we normally would. So watch video, highlight, and kind of how we're going to defend China and what we're going to do. And then, yeah, just roll into the game. So I don't know. It was really no different. Again, we try to approach every single game like it's any other. So I would say there was not much difference.
At 0-0, the starting sixes are announced. The referees are in place. First referee's up on his stand. He blows his whistle. Did you think you'd win the game?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know. I don't know. I was confident in our team, and I believed in what we stood for. But again, like I said earlier, like every game has a new history, you know? And I think in the back of my mind, it was like, hey, like this could go in either way, but just like compete, right? And I know for me personally, it wasn't like the best personal game for me. And I know there was a couple times that I mentally got in my own head, and it's like, okay, Jordan, like they're defending you this way, like from an attacking standpoint, just pass the ball. Your team just needs you to pass the ball. Like, let's just stay in it. And we got to defend the ball. We got to serve the ball well, and like just stay in it, and quit being selfish and trying to be all this, you know, and instead of just being like consistent and there. And so, yeah, it was, but yeah, it was a fun game.
So during a big match like this, maybe from like a tactical perspective, how much are you adjusting your like tactics kind of live, like zooting, you know, tips to one twice in a row, or you're like, okay, I'm thinking about that now, maybe cover some of the defender there, or how do you decide how much you do that on the fly versus how much you're like, okay, I'm just going to stick with the game plan?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of our block and defense system is just pure reading. So being able to read and like react to the best way we can. But ultimately, there are some tactical things that we need to do. And so I think before we go into the match, we have some like tactical, like how we're blocking Ju. Like we're blocking her angle. That means we're defending down the line. And, maybe that's not working the first couple times around. All right, we got to change it up and we got to change it and we got to be in the moment and be reacting. And so I think that's what we try to do. We try to start with a game plan. It's a good starting point. If it's not working, then we try to adjust mid-game. And then, our coaches are talking about rotations when we're coming off. Like, hey, we're in row 3, X, Y, and Z is coming at you. This is how we're defending it, and go from there. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Great.
No, I do the tactical stuff. Just I watch a lot of volleyball and I commentate on a lot of volleyball, and I've obviously got an understanding of the game. But when you start to talk about tactics, honestly, it's like you're talking another language to me. Yeah. It's amazing to hear, particularly because you and I watch volleyball very differently, Dan, because we spent quite a lot of time together in January at the Olympic qualifiers in Appleton, and then when we talk about the games afterwards, you'd be like, oh yeah, did you see so-and-so's stats? And I didn't really pay much attention to the stats because I'd watched the game, and I kind of used that to get my feel of who's played well and who hasn't played well, but which doesn't really make sense with volleyball because you've got this sheet of paper in front of you that tells you exactly who played well. But I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit more old school.
So Jordan,
that's mean.
So Jordan, help settle this for us. When you're playing maybe with Team USA or with in Turkey or in Russia, how much are you relying on stats? Maybe between games and also like during the game.
Yeah, I honestly, like you, like I don't really look at the stats. I think sometimes you can get mental as a player. Yeah. Just like, oh, well, I have 2 hitting errors and, whatever. But ultimately, like, you have to look at what's across from you and, like, what's happening. Like, okay, like, maybe they're trying to shut, like, this player down. But it opens up this avenue for a middle blocker to hit the ball more, or like there's those kind of strategies that sometimes you got to take like some responsibility. Like, okay, well, today's not my night or whatever. But my team needs me to do X, Y, and Z. And so being able to kind of find that and fill those holes, like I think for me, that's what I've just tried to do throughout my career. I know there's been times in my life though, where it's like, yeah, but I need my passing to be at this percentage or, like we're always striving for that. But I think ultimately, like you can't get too caught up in it because otherwise you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, this is a completely different conversation in a different podcast, but liberos and setters never get MVP, but sometimes very often they're game winners because if it's done on stats. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about, we've wrapped up the World Championships. You were among the first USA women's players to have a gold medal put around their neck, which is, well, that's one of those memories that's gonna last forever. Not just for you as well. Like, did you think about what it meant to the fans and everybody else to have that achievement, to be a world champion?
Yeah, it obviously, like, it's just super cool to like be a part of history. And I think obviously like the teams that came before us, right, and the women that like have put us in this position, right, like we have been able to do things that like just with resources, that like other teams in the past haven't. And so I just think it's really cool. And we've heard from some older teams, from the 80s that boycotted and whatever, like just the things that we get to do and like what we're doing for the sport, not just us, but I think even the years to come, I think is just awesome. And obviously winning a world championships like we're putting our name out there more. And I think just as the years goes on, USA Volleyball is getting stronger and stronger. So.
All right. Speaking of getting stronger and stronger, Olympic Games, is an Olympic gold unfinished business for you?
For sure. Yeah. The fact that it just like brings chills like through my whole body, like tells me that it is. And I think, how cool. silver,
Oh.
bronze, gold. I'm just missing one, right? Like, come on.
Do you know, I'm glad you were honest with that answer, actually, because sometimes people are quite coy, and you might have said, "Oh, you know, it'd be really nice" or whatever. But the fact that you've got this cabinet full of trophies and medals, but there's still one that you've got your sights set on is pretty amazing. Talk to me about London then. Earls Court, 2012, silver
Yeah.
medal. What did that tournament mean to you?
Yeah. I don't know. As a young kid at the age of 12, I had said I wanted to be an Olympian. And like when I finally heard like you are now part of the 2012 like Olympic team, like I can't tell you like what that meant to me. And then obviously to like go there and like not to act like, oh crap, like I'm here, like I'm really here, like I get to play, like what's going on. And next to like one of like my idols, right, like Logan Tom, of all people, like I looked up to as a kid, you know, and now I'm playing next to her in like a pretty big moment, like don't mess up, you know, and like act cool, you know, you're meant to be here, you know. And so yeah, I mean, just it was such a surreal moment. I tried to like really take it in, but again, just act like this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and like it's no different. It's just called the Olympic Games, you know. And so yeah, obviously winning a silver medal was amazing, and I don't know, I feel like that was our chance to win gold. We were so close, but Brazil played amazing, and you got to give credit to them. They played lights out. So
Quick change of gender, actually, because obviously there's a lot of expectation on USA teams in any Olympic Games in any sport, but for the men's team, it seemed like there was a heck of a lot of expectation, because there were all those big names leaving afterwards, like Clayton Stanley and the like, and they crashed out pretty early, didn't they? They didn't medal. Do you have much to do with them in those Olympics? Are you all sort of one unit?
yeah, I would say more in Rio than we did in London per se,
Okay.
just because in London we're on 2 different days, but we do see them like at the training facility a little bit, but it was very much like crossing paths. But we do like we train together like in California, so we do see them a lot.
Okay.
So in a sense, it is kind of a united front. But in Rio, we stayed off of the village, and we stayed off with the men's national team, and it was I don't know, I really liked it because I did feel more united. And it was like we would do like daily send-offs, not daily, but like when the men were playing, like we would do like good luck cheer, or like we'd stand in the lobby and like, you know, root them on as they're going to the game, or I don't know, it just felt very much united. And so it was a really cool feeling in Rio to have that.
Did you stay on the boat?
We didn't. No, our families did, but we stayed closer to the gym just because traffic was gnarly. So
Oh,
yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, we did it one day. Like, so we stayed in the village for 4 days when we first got there, and I think we did one training at the facility, and oh my god, it was like 2.5 hours there, 2.5 hours back, and we're all just like, thank you for like the USOC for putting us closer, because it was much easier. So,
yeah, it was pretty wild, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
right, we'll move on to Rio properly now, but just want to close London off first. Did you say you stayed in the village at London, or
Yep,
out of the?
we did.
Okay.
Yeah, but even in London, it was still like pretty brutal traffic, like hour and a
Yeah.
half there back. But Earl's Court was awesome.
R.I.P. Earls Court. They put a wrecking ball through it now. Honestly, broke my heart.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Do you know what? I know this is very much about you, not about me. But even I
no.
get goosebumps thinking about Earls Court. Just what a joy to have 45,000 people a day watching volleyball in London. Just absolutely wonderful. And also it was my first experience of Polish volleyball supporters, and oh my god, those guys love a party. The semi-final, then, the moment you won the semi-final, so you knew you were going to be an Olympic medalist. You said age 12 you wanted to be an Olympian. What did that moment feel like?
Yeah, so surreal. Yeah, to think like you're gonna walk away with some hardware is like unreal, and like the fit, like the fact that we had a really good shot of winning gold, and like it's just like right there, you know, like I can't even like explain it to you. And just in that moment, like, yeah, just so surreal, really cool.
And so talking about big moments, I think we're heading towards the end of our episode here. So what were the 5 moments of your career so far?
Yeah. So I would say like, yeah, winning in '06 with my team. I would say like making my first Olympic team and winning silver in London. And then I would say back-to-back Champions League championships with 2 different teams.
And your 2 teams too, right? Because you're one of the rare players who kind of basically had.
We won Club World Championships both times that year as well, which was very nice. And then I would say obviously making my second Olympic team and winning bronze, which I think is still like one of my favorites, because they don't talk about that, right? Like when I was saying like in London, right? Like, okay, yeah, we made it to the final. You get to walk away with something. But when you're in the bronze medal match, it's like one team gets to walk away with something and one team gets to go home like empty-handed, and they don't give that away. You got to fight for it. And yeah.
I've got a theory about major championship silver medals versus bronze medals. And you probably won't get this, Jordan, because it's often you who's on the podium. But Dan, next time you're at a major championships, watching it on TV or in the venue, look at the podium and watch the people with silver medals around their neck and the people with bronze medals around their neck. And then it was actually London 2012 where I got this theory. It was after the men's final where Russia beat Brazil, but earlier that day, Italy had won bronze. Italy practically danced out of the tunnel to get onto the podium. They were so, so happy. Brazil, devastated. Obviously, Russia were over the moon. They were gold medalists. But yeah, winning that bronze, you finish the Olympic Games with a victory. How amazing is that?
How amazing. You're so right. Yeah. And I think I never really thought about it before until I was in that situation. And it's like, yeah, it's crazy. And it's so hard because you obviously lose like a tough semifinal, and then you got to turn around a day and a half later and like, all right, well, that stunk. So how can I like be better? And like, we gotta walk away with something here. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, massive test of mental strength, isn't it? You know, that's where that sort of team ethic really comes in. Where do you keep all your medals? Are they all together?
Yeah, they are all together. They're in a safe place by my dad in Nebraska. So not actually with me, but they're in a safe place. So I don't trust myself.
Oh, Jordan, so great to talk about all that success with the USA and your big game attitude as well. That is all from this episode, from myself, from Dan, and from Jordan Larson. Thank you for joining us on the Ace Space. We'll be back soon. In the meantime, head over to CEV's social media to... What else is going on, Dan? There's so much. I mean, I'm going to plug Unscripted, obviously, but there's the debate, there's all of the quizzes going on, there's the classic matches too, and lots more episodes of the Ace Space still to come. We'll speak to you next time.